What's going on, guys? Nathan with Technology Smash back with another video, and today I have my quick review of the Nextbit Robin. So I've been using this phone on and off for about a week, mostly as a phone that I've just used at home on Wi-Fi. I have tested it out on cellular for T-Mobile for myself just to see how it worked, which it all works great and fine, just like any other normal phone. So I'm going to be going over some positives and negatives and if I think you should get this phone or not, because it has dropped significantly in price since it was released. So I think this released at $400 and now it's around $250. If you want the charging brick that comes with it, it's like $300. So just use your own, because why would you pay $50 for a charging brick? I think through Robin themselves, you can actually get the charging brick for a reasonable amount. That's just an Amazon thing for certain sellers, and that's why it was a $50 difference. I think through Robin, it's probably 15, maybe even 10, so it just kind of depends. All right, so I'm going to be going over some pros and cons on what you may and may not like. This is what I didn't and did like. So first, I'm going to go over the pros on what I did like. So there's a healthy list for both things. I don't think this is a phone that I would want to keep based on my usage and what I've seen, and I'll tell you why. So first, we're going to go over the pros. So number one, design. This is a very unique phone, and this is not like any other phone that I've seen or used before. It is a little bit weird that it's square. At first, I thought that it wasn't too comfortable to hold, and now I'm convinced that it's not too bad. It looks weird because it's square. You would think that would dig into you. It does a little, but it's not a deal breaker. Looks really unique with the square, the polycarbonate body, and this color looks really cool. It does attract some strange fingerprints that don't really wipe off. They just kind of stay on the body unless you actually like wet them down, which obviously you don't want to do too much because this is not any kind of waterproofing in this phone. So the design, really cool. Also with the design, and I have it over here, things like the USB-C charging cable. So it's that flat cable that won't get tangled. It's the flat USB design too for the actual plug. That's really cool. I like stuff like that because it's not like everybody else's that kind of get damaged and tangled up. The packaging, also part of the design, really cool. It's got like this notebook style design with little flaps and pages inside of here. So I really like that. Little touches like the SIM ejection tool being their cloud logo. That's really cool to me. So the design is great. I think it's really cool, and I like that they can do something different and for it to work out. So the second pro that I have written down are the speakers. So they're front-facing stereo firing speakers that come out front way. They're like a little dimple inside the phone, and they just sound great. Anything front firing is going to sound better than anything else. So those are great. They sound really full, and I think they can stand up to a lot more of the other front-facing speakers like the Nexus 6P or the Nexus 6. So those are spot on. The next is the fingerprint scanner. This might be subjective for you, but it's on the side over here, and it's an actual button. And when you press it, it unlocks almost immediately. So it's very, very quick. You can see we'll do it multiple times. It's almost instantaneous. So I would recommend setting it up to your finger over here, because that's how you might grab, or this thumb here. Those are the two main ones. You're not really going to pick it up and do this or use this thumb. So those are the two main ones. I think it's great. It works really fast, and for a budget phone, you can't go wrong for a fingerprint scanner that's that quick. The next thing, nearly stock Android. So this thing runs almost on stock, and that's going to be a little bright. So you can see everything looks stock in the menu. If you actually go into the Android menu, mostly stock for everything. So it looks really good. I like that it's stock, which means it can stay fast, which means updates can happen pretty quick. And everybody, has their different tastes on stock Android and what they think is good or bad, but I think it's great. So that's another one. Cloud storage would be another option. This is a kind of a double-edged sword because it's good and bad, because it kind of chooses for you what it's going to do, and not everything in the software is up to where it needs to be. But it will kind of preload or it will pre-back up apps that you don't use too much. And I'm actually going to switch the home screen here because I was in the Google Now launcher, so you guys can kind of see what it looks like. There's no app tray on here, which I'm not a fan of. But here's the apps you can see. And they're all just kind of in that. It's cool because you can pin stuff. So let's say I want to pin Instagram, or I've already done that one, so let's try a different one. Speed test. So you grab and just pull down. Oh, I hit Pandora. So it's in the pinned apps. So now if you go in here and look at your pinned apps, it will not back up or take those ones off the phone. So that's nice. It's built in 32 gigs and 100 for the cloud. So that's a cool concept. I think they just need to get it right with how you can choose and do things, but that's definitely a benefit to have. So you essentially have 132 gigs minus, the system storage it needs. The last one I have for a Pro would be the price. It's a cheap phone. If you need something cheap, it'll work out for you. $250, like I said. There are cheaper options that I think have better build qualities, but it just kind of depends on what you need, and if you like the uniqueness and how this phone is, then it's worth looking at. So that kind of does it for my pros, because I do have quite a bit of cons for this phone. Even though it's cheap and budget, I've still seen ones that are treated differently or created in a better build quality, and you'll see what I mean. So first one that is build quality. This thing is 100% plastic. I don't know if anybody here has heard of Jerry Rig Anything, but that YouTube channel, he does a durability test on most phones that come out. This one snapped right in half when he did a bend test, and it's because he opens it up afterwards, and everything is made out of plastic. Everything. Even the motherboard is screwed into straight plastic. So you can tell that, and my phone actually in the corner here, you're not going to be able to hear it or see it, but it creaks, and the screen is actually like indented to the side compared to this. This is flush and perfect. Over here, I can feel the edge of the phone because the screen is lower than the edge. This is how it came. I haven't even really taken this out of the house. So build quality is an issue here. Even on the back here where this top and bottom meet, this is flush and this is sticking out at the bottom. So build quality issues is a problem. Part of that build quality that I can tell are things that are easy to notice, like the SIM tray. And I don't know how good this will come up on video, so we'll try. But this SIM tray is a little bit crooked. It's just like a really thin really thin metal that could easily be squished or crunched. And it doesn't really hold my SIM card like I would want to. Obviously, it's not really fair to compare it to an iPhone 6s SIM tray, but it's night and day. This thing is very, very thin. It's awkwardly cut almost. So that's part of the build quality problems that I noticed. So not the best build quality. Screen brightness. This one is really irritating me because I've tried to figure out if it's me or not. It's not going to show up great in this video. This is the brightest the screen gets right here. I'm going to show you two other phones side by side so we can see the comparison. Here is the Moto G4 and my iPhone 6s. All these are on max brightness. I can tell you this one's not even close. Let me open a white screen. I'm going to change the home back so that we can see in the app tray, because these two are going to have similar app trays. It's not even close to the same brightness, and it might not be doing it justice on this screen or on this video because of how it's going to film, but this screen is almost hard for me to look at. Even on darker screens on stuff like Relay for Reddit, I can't really read on here for too long. It's actually kind of painful for my eyes. So not a fan of the screen at all. Doesn't look good to me. So that's a huge con for me because if I can't look at it for a long amount of time or even a short amount of time, what's the point? Because it's a smartphone. It's got a big screen so that you can browse and use media and things like that. The next thing is the OS, the colors on here, and I know it's part of the design and the other phone comes in a mint green, but like these icons you can't change, which is fine. You can sort of change things through Nova, but like the whole OS has this really light, just strange like mint and white. I know that there's been people, and I've seen it online, of them asking on Reddit and things for a dark mode. This desperately needs one. So It's this minty color, and if you open the camera, there's the biggest indication on here, and I don't know how good we'll be able to see, but let's see, where was that at? Like in here, and it looks really good on this camera actually, which is weird, but in person, these colors almost melt together. You can't really see the mint as opposed to the white. So that's a weird problem because you can't really change that without root, the system information that's gonna be those colors. Next, the camera, not so great. I mean, it's all right for a budget phone, but to me, it was really dark and like underexposed a lot of stuff, and it's not on par with some of the other budget phones I've tried. But again, you're not really buying a budget phone expecting an amazing camera, so I'll give that one a little bit of a pass. Not too awesome for the camera. Let's see, second to last one here. It gets hot. This phone, when I would use it, I can tell where the battery is because it gets warm to the touch pretty quickly. Playing any kind of games or things like that, I can just tell that it has an issue staying cool. It doesn't really affect performance that I've noticed too bad, but it is there. So be aware if you have a phone that, if that kind of annoys you to have a phone that gets kind of hot, because I'm not a big fan of that. Cases usually will prevent that from the feel, at least, and all phones get hot. My iPhone gets hot. Every phone that I've used gets hot in some way or another. It just kind of depends on how you feel about that. So I'm not a big fan of when the battery is clearly overheating and the phone can kind of slow down a little bit. I haven't noticed it too bad, like I said, but it's an issue. And then the last thing here, this is a super weird design choice that they chose, but the notification light is right there. Why? I have no clue. So if this is sitting on your desk or somewhere that I keep a lot of my stuff, like in a tilt charger, now that I use it, I don't have anything that wirelessly charges, but it just sits there. The notification light is this spot right here. I have no idea why. It's super strange to me. It should be on the front somewhere if you're going to have one at all. This kind of has to be sitting on like a tabletop, angled to where it's like pointed towards you so that you can even see the indication light. And I don't have anything right now on my notifications, so I'm trying to see if I can create one. Let me create a notification so that you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to send myself an email. Hopefully that comes through quickly. There's an issue too. All right, I got the email, but the notification light is not showing up. But that little hole that you see there is a notification light. And this port is a little strange. It's off center. That's not too bad. The USB-C is very, very tight in there, and it's almost hard to get out for the most part, but you kind of force it in, and then, yeah, it's very tight, but almost in like a negative way. It's really tough to pull out of there. Overall, I like the phone. I think it's cool, and I'm really excited to see their next phone, if they're working on one, to see what they can do to refine a little bit of this stuff. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them below, and I'll try to get to them as soon as I can. And thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.